We're good on Zoom. All right, it's 6:46. I'm going to call the joint meeting of the City Council and Board of Finance to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. We do have a little bit of an audience today. Let's do introductions, and that'll give me a second to see if anybody's on Zoom. Go ahead, Mr. Mace. Start with introductions.
My name is John Mace. I'm a Finance Board Commissioner.
Marie O'Brien, a member of the Board of Finance.
David Mikowski, Board of Finance.
Bill Campion, a member of the Board of Finance.
Sue Tyler, City Council, District 2.
Jacqueline Olson, City Council, District 2.
Sebastian Paniotto, City Council, District 1.
Jeff Caggiano, Mayor.
Mark Dickow, City Council, District 3.
Cheryl Tebow, City Council, District 3.
Eric Rosengren, City Council, District 1.
Nicole Duquette, Board of Finance.
Great. And did we, I was doing that to stall a little. Do we have anybody on Zoom? Okay, so we're good. We have a quorum. We're good to go. We'll move right along with the joint meeting. Number 2 on that is the approval of the minutes for the regular joint meeting held on August 14th, 2024. Can I have a motion to approve,
Move
please?
to approve.
Second.
Any comments, additions, corrections? All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed? Motion carries. Number 3 is the consent agenda. It is A through T this month, a very long consent agenda. Reminder to all those in the audience, these things are very well vetted. We go through all kinds of boards and commissions before we get here, but does anybody wish to withdraw anything from the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull 3I.
Okay. So then I will entertain a motion to approve A through H and J through T on the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed? That motion carries. Sue, why don't you go ahead and bring I up on with a motion to approve I, and then we'll do a second and we'll talk about it.
I would like to make a motion to approve 3I on the consent calendar.
Yeah, and that's $9,740 within the Capital Projects Fund for the traffic signal video project. Can I have a second?
Second.
Great. Sue, question on this one for maybe Chief Morello.
No, I think
nope.
that one is more Diane.
Oh, good.
This
So you're
was
aware of this, then good.
just a little confusing with the backstory to it.
So I know this question also came up at the Board of Finance meeting, so I thought it just might be good to maybe clarify it.
Perfect.
This project was complete 2015, 2016 timeframe. It was part of a lot SIP grant. We received the money up front, spend the money, and any money that's left over has to go back, has to be returned. In this case, there were certain costs that were not eligible. It was the, I believe it was the engineering, and I know Ray is here, he could speak to it as well if you have additional questions, are not eligible under the lot SIP grant. So basically what we have to do is put the money in the expenditure account and appropriate it so that the city can pay for that piece of it. And then the balance will go back to the state. We've received the money ahead of time. So basically it's just truing up that project to make it whole.
Great. That explains the smaller number too. I got it.
Thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed? A motion carries. We move on to 4A, which is a motion to approve transfers totaling $164,808 within the general fund with $135,000, $560 from the general fund contingency account for insurance.
Move approval.
Second.
Any comments or questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That motion carries. I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, so we go to 5A, which is the animal control facility approvals. The first is a resolution modifying the project scope of $2,990,000 appropriation for the design and construction of the new animal control facility to the acquisition of and renovations and improvements to real property for the use of the animal control facility.
Move
Moved.
approval.
And we got a second from
Second.
Mykowski. I heard that. Just to explain to everybody, this is now, we have a building that we're currently leasing that we're hoping to purchase that will hopefully save us quite a bit of money and time and energy and effort to rebuild the animal control facility, but the money wasn't originally appropriated that way, so we're reappropriating the money. This is a resolution, so we do need a roll call vote. Erica?
Commissioner Campion,
Yes.
Commissioner Duquette,
Yes.
Commissioner Mace,
Yes.
Commissioner Mykowski,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien,
Yes.
Councilmember Dickow,
Yes.
Councilmember Olson,
Aye.
Councilmember Paniotto,
Yes.
Councilmember Rosengren,
Yes.
Councilmember Tebow,
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion is approved unanimously. And the second part of this is to put the money actually into action is B, to approve the resolution modifying the project scope and the authorization for the issuance of bonds or notes in the amounts of $2,990,000 to finance the design and construction of a new animal control facility, to the acquisition of and renovations and improvements to real property for the use of an animal control facility.
Move approval.
Second.
Great. Same thing, just now the money's actually being bonded for it. All those in favor?
Resolution.
Oh, it's a resolution.
Resolution.
Right. Thank you. Guys always remind me of that. Go ahead, Erica.
Commissioner Campion,
Yes.
Commissioner Duquette,
Yes.
Commissioner Mace,
Yes.
Commissioner Mykowski,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien,
Yes.
Councilmember Dickow,
Yes.
Councilmember Olson,
Yes.
Councilmember Paniotto,
Yes.
Councilmember Rosengren,
Yes.
Councilmember Tebow,
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Motion passes unanimously. Number 6, Stormwater Trust, to make an additional appropriation of $5,900 within the general fund funded by the Stormwater Trust revenue as of June 30th, 2024.
Move approval.
Second.
Great. Any comments or questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Now the closeout of the fiscal year 23-24. Want to entertain a motion to approve transfers totaling $2,142,885 within the general fund to close out fiscal year 2023-2024.
So moved.
Second.
You got it? I'm getting nods. That's good. Comments or questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Number 8 is the carryovers for the year. I'll entertain a motion to approve carryovers from the fiscal year 2023-2024 to fiscal year 24-25 totaling $1,088,325 within the general fund.
Move approval.
Second.
Second.
Great. Comments or questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. And finally, to approve carryovers from fiscal year 2023-24 to fiscal year 24-25 totaling $24,492 within the Community Development Block Grant Fund.
Move approval?
Second.
Given that went to Paniotto. Any comments or questions here? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. We move on to number 9, which is our monthly reports by Diane and other reports. I know she's got something else to add today.
Okay, so you do have the financial report, and really there isn't a lot to report. It's only 2 months into the fiscal year. Tax collections are coming in kind of where we expect them to at this point. I think it's nice to see the graphs that the tax collector presents because you can see real estate, personal property are definitely at, 50, 51% or more. And then motor vehicle is really where it should be at this time of the year. So nothing really to be concerned about there. The one thing that I did want to add, if you do look at the Munis reports, the investment income wasn't yet recorded. So we did collect for the month of July, $178,000 in investment income, which is 16% of the budget. So I think hopefully we'll trend. We didn't chase that revenue. I know last year we collected well over $2 million. We'll see where we end this year, but we left the budget at 1.1 for the current year. So hopefully we'll build in a surplus and rates go up slowly or stay where they are and go down slowly. Again, on expenditures for some of the newer members, if you happen to see that there are some line items on the expenditure reports that look 100% expended, we encumber a lot of funds right up at the beginning of the year. particularly for some utilities and those type of expenses. Don't be concerned about that at this point. The audit, the preliminary audit work is done. Our final audit work is scheduled for the week of October 28th and the following 3 weeks. We're hoping that we will have the audit done before the middle of December. That's our goal this year. I think we were able to reach that last year, so we're hoping to stay on target with that. The Board of Ed special audit, that actually I have the finalized scope of services for that and the statement of work to be signed. So it is anticipated that that work will start within the next couple of weeks to maybe the next month. So that is underway. Couple of things on debt. I know we had a CIP meeting earlier or later last week. Couple of things that we did talk about. We will be looking at doing a note issue probably before the end of this calendar year. I estimate between $27 to $29 million. It's in line with what I had anticipated during the budget. So I was happy to see once I went through all the cash flow that we were still on target with what I had anticipated. Rates for notes right now are coming down. So I think I want to wait a little bit and see what happens. So I think I had estimated about a 3.75 and they were actually under 3% on some of the recent issues that I have looked at. The one other thing that we are also looking at is we may have the potential to refund some bonds that are outstanding. So I'll know more about that after the Board of Finance meeting, the end of the month. We will be having a presentation from our financial advisor on the pros, cons, and what the numbers would look like. The estimated savings right now are about $1 million for 2 issues from 2017, 2018. But we want to look at how we want to structure the savings. So we have a little bit of flexibility to have it benefit our debt service increases, which will be happening over the next few years. So that being said, that kind of covers my report. 2 other things to talk about. I'll talk about the bad news first. I think you all received the note I sent out yesterday. Fitch Ratings underwent a whole criteria change over the last 8 to 10 months, and they implemented it about 6 months ago. And the city of Bristol was one of the communities that was identified as being under consideration for review. That happened over the last couple of weeks. We typically will review if we're not in the market to issue. We will do a review with them, usually around the September, October timeframe. So we were due for that anyway. And as part of their review, there is one area that changed our rating. So we went from a AAA with Fitch down to a AA+. And when we talked to the rating agencies about this, it basically is the one area that Bristol is weak is in the demographic area. And the way they explained it when they changed their criteria, and the whole change is basically because they changed the criteria. The city's still financially strong. We have low debt. In every other respect, we're still in the mid-range to very strong level. But it's just in the demographic data that we just didn't check that box for AAA rating. It's not inconsistent with what has happened in some other communities in the area. Danbury also went through that, went from a AAA to a AA+, Manchester AAA to a AA+, and Waterbury from a AA- to an A+. So overall, I think there were a lot of some communities in Connecticut that were just affected by their criteria change. So that's really all it is. We do get ratings from 2 others. S&P were AA+, and with Moody's we're AA and AA2. So those, it's still very strong ratings for Bristol. So I don't think it's anything to be really too concerned about, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Go ahead, Marie.
So I noted that on the criteria, that demographic data included 3 elements, and I'm wondering if maybe we should have the Economic Development Commission come before this joint board at some point. The 3 criteria, as I recall from your email and their press conference, had to do with poverty level, education level, and what was the third one, Diane? Unemployment rate.
Household income.
And household income. Yeah, I think that those are significant enough for a major rating agency to identify, understand what you just said to us. They changed their criteria, but those are criteria this city has been working on for a long time. And I do think it's important to have accountable departments come before us and talk about those particular items. I also note, Mr. Mayor, that when you convened the CIP committee, a week or so ago, you said we were going to get a presentation by a statewide firm that does work with economic development to talk to us about trends. But these are a little bit disturbing, I think, given the kind of support that we've had, and frankly, some of the good economic development successes we've had. Obviously, that's not translating to good financial rating by at least this one major agency, and I'd like to know why.
I'd just like to state for the record, I don't think this is disturbing. This is something that has been part of the ratings all along. Our demographics have not changed dramatically in the last 10 or 15 years. And as a matter of fact, the other part of the Fitch report that was kind of important and also very targeted to this is they did note that we have a brighter financial future with a lot of the development with market rate apartments, affordable units coming hopefully at session. So I just have to talk about the disturbing part of it. Remember, nothing has changed here. They changed their rating system. So yes, we might not quite get money as freely as we have in the past. And so it's concerning, but it is something, as you said, that we've been working on for a long time in this city.
They also noted that the population had gone up to 61,000 and plus. So all I'm asking for is a briefing by our Economic Development Commission and department to this joint body to give us their interpretation of at least those criteria.
I'll promise you this too. We'll invite the whole joint body to what we talked about was a workshop for CIP, which would bring into economic and community development. So we'll make sure we invite everybody to that workshop.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
So just one comment on this discussion is, most communities use S&P and Moody's as their main rating agencies. And I think what this does is it really brings Fitch back in line with what S&P and Moody's. So it's, it was their criteria change. I think they just took a look at it. Any
Just
other?
add one thing, the AA plus rating is a really solid rating. US debt is AA plus by a couple rating agencies. So it's not the end of the world here.
Yeah, we're not,
It's a really
It's the high end of investment grade.
Through the chair, do we know why they changed their ratings, or did they give you any insight into that?
They were doing this for the last, we've been hearing about them reviewing their criteria over the last year or so that they were doing this. I think they just wanted to take a look at, one of the things that they explained was they were looking at where communities fell in comparison to, like we were compared to either their AAA, their AA plus throughout their whole book of business, really, throughout all the communities. And I think they just wanted to take a look and say, does Bristol fall within all these areas as some of the other AAA communities are? So I think that's why they went back and they looked at, and they changed their criteria. Because I think they weren't in line with some of the other rating agencies.
other questions or comments?
Through the chair. So was this just for Bristol that they
No.
took a look? Okay, so
So it was, they did it really nationwide, and then they looked at certain communities that were kind of like on the cusp. And like I said, Danbury, Manchester, Waterbury were also looked at and negatively impacted by the criteria change. So on that note, are there any other questions on the rating? Again, as Chairman Makowski mentioned, it's a very strong rating. I mean, the AA plus is a very strong rating, and combined with the AA plus from Moody's and the AA2 with Moody's, it's great. To end on a good note, the GFOA award was awarded to our comptroller's office again this year for our financial report. And I just want to basically say to my staff, to Rob Emanuel, the comptroller, Jessica Pilgrim, the senior accountant, and Martin, our budget analyst, could not have done it without them, because they really work really well with the auditors, get everything done, work well with the departments to get everything from the departments that we need. And there were a lot of new accounting pronouncements the last couple of years, and Joanne Martin really took the lead on that to make sure that we had everything that we needed to get that done. So got that award again. So I just want to say congratulations to them. I know they're not here, but I have to at least give them.
Yeah. Diane, maybe to embarrass you a little bit, but I have the letter here from GFOA and I was ready to read it anyway, so I won't read the whole thing, but we were recognized, as Diane said, the Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by a government and its management. Thank you to you and your team. Great. Yes.
One question, when you get ready to put together the bonding and so forth, could you, especially if you have handouts that you pass out to the Board of Finance
Yep.
at that time, email it to us on council in case we're, because I'd like to take in that meeting, but most likely it would be on Zoom, so.
Yeah, it will be.
And let us know what meeting that will be at.
It's the 24th, I think is our next meeting. Is it
Okay,
24th?
so this month.
Yep. this
Thank you.
Very good. Anything else to come before this board? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, what did we forget? Oh, yes, we do have a new business item. Holy cow, I forgot all about that. You were all handed, as I came in, a grant application basically, or a notification from the state. Due to early voting, the Secretary of State and the state has put together funding for the early voting process. I would like to kind of push this through quickly because our registrar of voters that you'll see down at the end wants to use this for the ballot printing and coding. It's a November 5th election, so they have to start that a month ahead of time. Our normal process is to bring this to the Board of Finance first, and then to the council, and then to, through the joint board. The amount, by the way, is, as you can read the letter, is at least $2,000, but actually Bristol will be getting $16,493.91. So what I'd like to do, and I talked to Corp Council about this, is we have a quorum of both boards here. If we could put this motion forward to accept this grant from the state and refer to the Board of Finance and kind of do it backwards and then allocate the money at the Board of Finance, because that will be by the end of this month and it will allow them to print the ballots. So that's what I'm looking for. If we can have that motion from somebody, that would be great. Anybody want
So
to?
move.
All right, great,
Second?
great. Questions or comments from the team here?
To the chair. So what are we looking at total when, 16,400, sure, that's great. Where does that run in the scope of things for the cost of early voting for the city here?
Yeah, I don't have the exact numbers from the registrars. I don't see them here, but I can give you a rough number that in the past couple of elections, total cost was somewhere in the neighborhood of $30,000 for the total election. They did come up with a number that it was about $160 for every early vote that was cast for those two elections. Now, remember, one of those was a Republican primary, so not a high turnout, and the other one was a special election, which was better turnout than expected, but still only 11%. So if the heart of your question is, what is the cost of early voting? It's very significant. And at this point, we haven't seen a huge return on that, but presidential elections usually garner 80 to 85% voter turnout. We'll see if that number goes up, number one, and number two, how many people take advantage of the early voting. So this 16,000, by the way, is just going to cover the printing of the ballots. We're going to be spending $30,000 or $40,000 on all of the poll workers at City Hall during the early voting, and then obviously on voting day throughout.
Thank you, Mayor.
If you want more specific information, we can get it from the registrar, but I think I generally answered your question. Probably is in the budget packet, their estimates, but we'll have to watch it and see what it is.
And this is just for this year. Does this
Correct.
commit us to early voting for next year as well?
No, this is a
Just
one-time
one-time.
grant, which as you see, it's, very late in the cycle. And I don't know if this came from ARPA money or somewhere else, but this is something that the state granted us last minute. Other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now, do we have anything else? All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You are adjourned. And we will start the city council meeting. Let's do it at 7:15 because I want to make sure I'm we're at 7:15. I see a lot of you are standing, which is great. For those that aren't, we're going to go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty, so we'll do quick introductions here. If I can start with my right. Tyler?
Sue Tyler, City Council District 2.
Jacqueline Olson, City Council District 2.
Sebastian Paniotto, City Council District 1.
Jeff Caggiano, Mayor.
Mark Dickow, City Council District 3.
Cheryl Tebow, City Council District 3.
Eric Rosengren, City Council District 1.
Great. So very excited today. We have not had this many people in City Hall in a while, and people might be wondering why. But I know over the past couple of months, we've been watching that our Bristol girls softball teams have been doing extremely well. I did get a little card from our New England champions, the U10 girls softball team. And then we have our U14 and U16 teams. I'm going to ask you to come up real quick just to tell how those two teams performed. I think they were state champions, but I don't want to misquote it. So, yep. Is it working? Hang on one second. Is there a green light on there? I don't think. Just press the button. Get a green light. And you can leave it on after too there.
I see a green light.
There you go. Yes, you're good.
Thank you. My name is Adam Whitlock. It is an absolute pleasure to be here along with some children I've known since they were roughly 5 years old, and a bunch of great dedicated coaches. We have 3 teams that represented Bristol, Connecticut, and became the state champions in their respective age groups. Our youngest group went on to the East Regional in Staten Island and was the New England Regional champion, having all of these girls represented their state, playing other states, and actually really played great ball, but also handled things with extreme class and dignity. So thank you for having them.
Thank you, and congratulations to all of you. One last thing. I'm hopeful that we can have the girls come up and we can kind of take a picture here in front of the dais. So if you guys just can walk up, we'll do that. I have here, by the way, since you represented the city of Bristol so well, I think I have enough pins if we do not, but this is the city of Bristol logo pin that you can all have as a keepsake. And we'll get a quick picture here. Eric, you're going to get the picture? Yeah, come around. Settle here. You can just maybe stand up behind them. That'll work. Because I don't think we can get in front of them. I don't know.
I need a stool.
Heel up there. Come closer together. You guys are going to have to level off. U10 girls in the front. How's that? U10 girls in the front. U10 girls, fill right in. Move this way.
2 rows.
At least 2 rows, yes. There we go. All right, we're getting there now. A couple of you coaches, come on this side here. Yeah, there we go. And you girls just turn around. We got it. We're getting there.
Can they get all of them in one?
Let's see. Tighter, tighter. Turn sideways if you have to. Good job, girls. Ready to get their pictures? All right, so I saw a whole bunch of parents taking pictures. I hope you're all going to post it on Facebook. And the little difference here is that a lot of people might have called Bristol a baseball town over the years, right? Babe Ruth hit the first home run here at Muzzy Field. We've been known for great baseball performance. So the hashtag is going to be Bristol is a softball town. All right? Congratulations. All right, I'm going to give the pins here. If you could just hand them out. And if we are short pins, Adam, just let me know. We will get more for all the girls. Congratulations to all of you. No problem. Congratulations, girls. Yeah. Anybody who wants to be a future mayor or council person, you may want to stay and learn how things work.
Good job, girls. All right, who's our catchers? Raise your hand. Who's the catcher?
I don't think so.
Who's catcher?
No, I don't see any of them.
I lost my knees doing that.
So,
Good. That was my role.
Not my first time.
You did first and third? But I didn't do it in school. I did it afterward. We had an after work week.
and to make your
School, I did.
exit easier, I'm gonna ask that you girls exit out over that way. We can hand the pins outside. No, take them and make sure they're put to good use. Congratulations. Very nice. Congratulations. This is awesome.
Congratulations.
Love doing it.
Good job.
I did it. I played JV. I don't know if the fields are still.
Who's that? Oh, Dave Stafford. Take care, Dave. See you. It was fun.
I don't know if the fields are still configured the same way it used to. If they were, it's like a field
Okay, while they're exiting, I also want to let
behind the left fielder.
those that are here
I used to
know that we have a,
varsity bench. Great hitter. I was so upset.
Christie. All right, look at how quickly it thinned out here. Thought we might have had a future mayor in the crowd that would stick it out and come sit up here with us, but I guess not. All right. Number 2 on our agenda is the approval of the minutes. We actually have 3 sets of minutes, so I will take these all together. I think that's fine. So it's the approval of the public hearing on August 14th, 2024, the approval of the regular city council meeting on August 14th, and the approval of the special city council meeting held on August 21st.
Approval?
Second. Great. Any changes, corrections, or amendments on any of them? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That motion carries. All right, we have 2 kind of special public participation presentations. I have Mark Reich up first. Are we able to put the presentation up? I know that we have a presentation up here. Mark is from Greater Bristol Homes, and he's going to do a quick presentation on how they have enriched this city and are continuing to look for opportunities to do that. So some good news from Mark.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I want to talk about what we've done, but what I want to talk about more than anything is the great partnership that we've developed with the city and the shared vision that we have and the things that we've accomplished together. But just, I'll just read the second paragraph on the first page there. We stand at the intersection of hopes, homes, happiness, and economic empowerment to develop and build affordable homes with financial support from corporations, foundations, banks, and others who see the transformative benefits of affordable housing and home ownership. And that kind of captures it. GBRC was started over 30 years ago by the Bristol Housing Authority. It was pretty dormant for a long time. I joined the board about 8 or 9 years ago. Since then, we've built 9 houses in Bristol. And we've done that. If we can go to the second page, please. We've done that with a lot of partners, and you'll see them on, there you go. A few that I'd like to highlight are D'Amato Construction, Barnes Group, CV Mason, and the McPhee Foundation. They're all local, and they've been great. They've been great contributors. They share in that vision of helping people become homeowners. And our focus really is workforce housing. And I think that's where we bond. Each of the houses that we build come with a pretty substantial subsidy. Otherwise, the people wouldn't ever be able to buy a house. And so it's a great opportunity. It's wonderful to be able to help people in that way. We work in partnership in part because we're tiny. We're a all volunteer board. And one of the things that really got us rolling about 8 years ago is we decided to narrow our focus. Rather than trying to do the myriad things that you need to do to help people become first-time homeowners, we decided to do 2 things: raise money, find land. Once you got money and you got land, you can always find partners. And we found some great partners. We've built homes with Habitat for Humanity. More recently and more productively, we've worked with Neighborhood Housing Services of New Britain. And that's a solid partnership along with the city. If we could go to the next page, that highlights the connection between Greater Bristol Homes and Neighborhood Housing Services. If we go to the next page, the completed homes page, and I'll just move through this fairly quickly. Those are the houses that we built prior to the two that we're just finishing up. The Bernie Avenue and Lillian Road homes are a really good example of the partnership that we've had with the city. They were built on what used to be a road that ran between Bernie Avenue and Lillian Road. It was an unneeded road, had no safety needs. And we ended up with a strip of land on one side. The housing authority ended up with strip of land on the other side. We asked the council to abandon the road. Since we were the abutting landowners, we got the property, and we were going to build 2 houses there. Until the city intervened and said, you know, if you apply for a zoning variance, we can get you 3 lots. And we got 3 houses, and 3 families got 3 homes that they never would have otherwise gotten. And, you know, that's the kind of participation and collaboration that's so critical. If we look at the Pine and Evergreen Street homes, that's another good example. Those were, no, just back it up. Thank you. That was land that was left over from the expansion of 72. It was owned by the state. We're always looking for cheap land wherever we can find it, and we bought that from the city. I think we bought 3 or 4 acres from the state, 3 or 4 acres. And we built 3 houses there. Again, workforce housing. These are families that never would have otherwise owned a home. And if we can go to the next page. These are the houses that we're in the process of finishing up. In fact, we're having the ribbon cutting on November 25th at 63 Gridley. By then, I think 147 Gridley is going to be done as well. But 63 Gridley, the home to the left, is another good example of the partnership and collaboration that we've had. The city owned that property. It was a vacant lot. They had a public sale. We weren't the top bidder, but the powers that be had faith that we would do the right thing, and we did it. And that house is a beautiful house. And the thing that you can't really appreciate from these pictures, you know, Gridley and the West End, it's older homes. Oftentimes you put a new house in and it just sticks out like a sore thumb. These fit in. And the one to the right, when you're up in the upper levels, because we had to go up because the lot's so narrow. I mean, you can see forever from up there. You can see well beyond Bristol. But that's where we're going to have the ribbon cutting. And you know, the houses are nice, but you know, I think we need to think about them as just a pebble that you drop in a pond, and you got to think about the ripples that come out from beyond it. You know, there were on Gridley, they were vacant lots with everything that comes with vacant lots, trash and bad behavior, and you know, you put in a couple of houses and it starts changing things. We're changing things for the families that are getting those homes, but things start changing in the neighborhood. People start picking up, neatening up, fixing up, and we've already seen that. Trimming their hedges. We've worked to spawn that even more. We started a streetscape improvement program where we're giving $500 grants to any of the homeowners that come up with a viable plan. And in fact, after I leave here, I'm dropping off the first 2 checks. So, you know, people are going to do it naturally. We figured we'd speed it up by giving them money, and it's going to pay dividends. But again, you know, you know, the house affects the family. It starts affecting the neighborhood. It affects the city because these are properties that produce little or no income. Each of them now pays about $5,500 to $6,000 a year in taxes. Beyond that, and if we could go to the next page. There's a lot of benefits that families derive by owning a house. You know, educational achievement goes up, civic participation. You're in the game now. You're gonna vote. You're gonna show up at PTO meetings. You're gonna do more things. Crime goes down. You're less inclined to commit a crime if you got a lot of downside. If you might lose your house, and the demand for public assistance goes down. I think that's important to the city because, you've got a lot of people that are consumers of services. What you want are people that are producing revenues and not drawing those services. And I think those are the things that get lost in the mix. And that's pretty exciting. And with that, I could go on for a long, long time. But number one, I would encourage everybody to show up 11 o'clock to 12 on, I believe it's a Wednesday, on September 25th. The mayor will be speaking. We've invited an awful lot of people. The people that support us, you saw those, our funding sources, and there's many, many more. They're going to be there. We hope to have the new homeowner at 63. But with that, let's go to the final page. I love this page. That kind of says it all. And I'd just like to open it up to questions from the council and from the floor.
Not quite open full like that, the way we work this public participation. We'll do the council. But anybody have any questions here or comments? I will just add too, it was wonderful at the last ribbon cutting to meet those families that are moving in. It's a great gift to give to them, to give them a head start. And that neighborhood continues to look good, and you can drive by and see it on 72. So it's a very cool project.
Yeah.
Questions from the council here?
To the mayor. I was just wondering about your contractors. Do you have specific contractors that you use to build these, or are they doing it on their own time?
No. This isn't like Habitat where people are getting out there and building houses.
Right.
We hire a contractor. We don't do that. That's what Neighborhood Housing Services does.
Okay.
We work very, very closely with them, but again, we try to stick to our knitting. We do two things. We find properties and we raise capital, and then we partner with others. But one other thing I'd like to mention, you can see those houses are scattered all over town. Gridley is in the West End. And we've decided that that's where we're going to focus. There's more need there. There's more vacant lots. There's more rundown houses. We've just built stick-built homes from the ground. We're now shifting our focus over to rundown properties, and 107 Gridley is one that we're trying to figure that one out. That's a complicated situation.
Very.
It would be ideal. It's a house that's been condemned by the city, but it would be wonderful to stick another nice home in the middle of that neighborhood and just kind of keep things rolling along. We've started our fundraising effort over the next year will be to raise sufficient capital to buy rundown homes, primarily rundown homes. We'll buy vacant lots if we can get them, and we get them in a variety of ways. We got the 63 through the city. 147 is a good example. We went out and looked at rundown properties and homes and just approached the owners and said, will you give it to us? You can get a tax write-off. It's a charitable donation. And I think for 147, we paid off some liens. The guy was happy to get it. And he took some sort of write-off. I don't have to sign off on it. And we ended up with a great lot and now a great view. But our focus will be on trying to do 5 houses in the next 4 years. Primary focus on renovating and rehabilitating existing homes. If they've got good bones and we can get them cheap, we're going to go in there, buy them, and fix them up.
Thank you.
Did I answer your question?
You did. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Very good. Well, thanks, Mark. We will continue to bring you back. I do invite everybody to show up on September 25th. You might not be able to get to talk to Mark at that ribbon cutting because I understand you won't be there, but we look to have many more of these in the future. It's a great win-win partnership. I appreciate it.
Counterpart at Neighborhood Housing Services, Chris Sanders, will be there along with some of our board members. So
Yep. And I do hope that the homeowners will be there as well. That's cool to meet them. So appreciate it.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks. Take care. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Next, I'm going to bring up Ken Valera. Ken is our the new director for the BRFOC. And we asked him to keep it very short, but I know Southington did this as well. They brought in Ken to talk about the history of Covanta/ReWorld, as well as the medical waste permit. So we're going to have him do a quick presentation for us here. And I have others on the list as well too, so we'll get to you all. Go ahead, Ken.
Good evening, everyone. As Mayor Jeff said, Ken Valera. I am the new Executive Director for the Bristol Resource Recovery Facility Operating Committee. My background is 42 years in the rubbish business. I ran some of the largest privately owned rubbish hauling companies here in the state for those 42 years. So I've used every single disposal facility throughout the state for all of the different incinerator plants, all of the active landfills that were open from the 1980s right on through till now. The Bristol plant is important to the Resource Recovery Authority here and to you people. The contract that you have is got some legs to it. It's got another 10 years left for that plant. And you have one of the most lucrative pricing structures for the 14-member towns that are available throughout the state. What we pay per ton is significantly less than what's happened throughout the rest of the state by using this plant and maintaining this contract. There's been some talk and some issues of late with a noise issue and with an application to expand the materials that they can take. I've done some research into both. They've done some mitigation for the noise, and they're in the process of trying to decipher whose reports are the most accurate and where they're going to go from there, and if there's any other work that needs to be done. But they are still, Covanta, now named ReWorld, is still working on that issue. And it's a little bit quiet because there is some actions that are going on. But they are still working on it, and they're open to us coming and looking and being at the plant. They're being very good hosts to us. I've been over several times myself, and I've been authorized to say if anybody on the boards wants to have a meeting, wants to go over, view the plant or our recycle plant that we use, which is over in Berlin, I can arrange those meetings and get tours so you people are more familiar with exactly what we're using and what we have available to us. For the application for taking special waste, medical waste, those plants, all of the plants in Connecticut in their general permit have the ability to take a small percentage of special waste. And I know Bristol does and has for years taken approximately 20 ton a day of special waste that go through there. People get carried away with special waste as a category. Some of it is just regulated waste that comes from our ports or the airport when it's an out of state, out of country ship or plane that comes in. All of that waste by Homeland Security standards has to be segregated from the normal waste at an airport or port. And it has to go into sealed containers. Homeland Security inspects all of those. And then they're authorized to be run through the plants. So there's a lot of different things that go through the plants that are there. Our plant is about 650 ton a day for what they process. They're looking for an expansion to be able to take 57 ton of that 650 and put it in as special waste. And they're looking to add on and put a special storage building there for it with a new conveyor system so that it will not impact any of our city employees or any of the private haulers that collect. That material will not be commingled with the material that our regular garbage trucks are bringing in there. They've got a relatively good plan with everything. The issue that seems to be coming up that was discussed at the Southington Council meeting is there's problems with the way the permit is in the permit application. That is not on ReWorld. That is on our Department of Environmental Protection and Energy. It's their permit application that's being used. It's not up to ReWorld to decide what they fill out and how they fill it out. They fill out the general application, and then there's public hearings so that they can go through the process of vetting out what's good, what's bad, what they want done differently. So it's in that process now. There will be public hearings coming up on that. But we have 10 years left on a contract, and we have the option for 2 more 5-year terms in our contract. The viability of that plan is important to our 14 towns and to Bristol as a whole.
Great.
That's a short overview of what we've got and what I know of it so far. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
While we're calling questions too, just to confirm, I believe the deep hearing is October 22nd. That was the date that was sticking in my head.
6:30.
So I guess the good message to all of us here, anybody who is concerned, is that's where this should be directed towards. They are completely in control of the medical waste permit and the additional tons of, special waste. So this is just another kind of special waste. So that was one big takeaway that I had. We do have time for just a little bit. I don't want to open this up to too many questions, but we do have an expert here. And by the way, Ken is now located in this building. So Bristol is his home for the Bristol Resource Recovery operating group. So if you guys have questions, you can catch them offline as well. Any other comments or questions here from the council? I appreciate that. I think it's just good information. I see a bunch of people online from the public. So you did a good overview of where we've been and where we might be going and what the process is. So we appreciate that.
Obviously, there's a lot more detail to it, but tonight's not for all of that.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Thank you for the time.
Next up in public participation is, I think it's Francis Moana. Did I get your name correct? Francois. Oh, that does make more sense now because there was an extra letter in there that I couldn't see. Francois, I apologize about that. Go ahead. And just state your address for the record for us too.
81 Field Street, apartment 6C.
Go ahead. Floor is yours.
Mr. Mayor, I come before you today to express my deep disappointment and concern regarding a council member who spends an excessive amount of time commenting on city business via Facebook while simultaneously silencing those who disagree with him. I understand that Facebook matters may not fall directly within the scope of your office. However, it's worth noting that Eric Rosengren frequently conducts city business using this platform both during weekdays and weekends. A recurring issue is Rosengren's role as an administrator on the Bristol Talks Facebook page. Recently, Jennifer Van Gorder, a Board of Education member known for anti-Semitic views, made a post deliberately stirring controversy about an administrator's resignation. I voiced my opposition to the blatant conspiracy theories often promoted by elected Republican officials. Such posts and actions continue to tarnish Bristol's reputation, which has long been a concern of mine. While engaging with others on this post, it became clear that my words offended Councilman Rosengren to the point where he removed me from the page entirely, effectively silencing my ability to counter the misinformation being spread by an elected official. Although I recognize there's no guarantee of free speech on a private platform, I seriously question the legality of a council member who uses this page to conduct city business and enhance his image, engaging in such censorship. Even more troubling is the knowledge that Councilman Rosengren allows his associates to post on Bristol Talks using fake profiles to disparage community members. I understand the desire to protect the tarnished image of your allies, who obstruct progress in serving our children. However, the citizens of this town must ask themselves, when is enough truly enough? When will the circus end? When will the chaos of council members undermining their own mayors cease? You may have silenced me in your forum, but you cannot silence me here. Thank you.
I appreciate your comments. I would just remind you as well, too, there are administrators for that private page. So I will encourage you to reach out to the administrators there. We obviously just want to state for the record, we don't have any purview or oversight on Bristol Talks, but I appreciate your comments.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
Michael Dudko, you're up next.
And Michael Dudko, 116 Lewis Road. I have three things. Last month I was here for the meeting before the city council meeting was a public hearing on the Connecticut City and Town Development Act.
Yep.
Now, what happened? Okay, I mentioned about eminent domain being in the wording. Okay, it turned out okay. But the thing was, the next meeting, the city council meeting, from the floor down, from the seat, I signed up to speak. And I asked if it would be coming up on the agenda that night. And I remember it was on the agenda. I saw it at home. I saw it there. Okay. And I asked specifically, will you be voting on it? And Mr. Mayor, you said no to me. Okay. I go home. I'll got nothing to say for public speaking on it. I did it at this public hearing. Okay. 2 days later, it was a Friday, a city activist saw me and said, hey, I saw you Wednesday night. Yeah, they voted on it. They voted on it later on. It was on agenda and voted. Well, I was thinking there was a 30-day rule. That's why I left that night. Oh yeah, public hearings have a 30-day period before it can be enacted upon. Okay, I'm like, what? Oh, I had to wait till Nutmeg TV released the TV video on it to watch it. And I watched. Yes, I thank Attorney Kowicki for giving me an explanation that the words eminent domain have been removed from the new wording of the act. So I don't have, I mentioned I didn't have any, if no tampering takes place, I'm not against the act. Losing my train of thought a little bit.
Can I interrupt you real quick? Because I want to just put forth a public apology. I did tell you that. I will admit that I was confused, but I did say that we would not be voting on it. We literally got up after the meeting and we talked to corp counsel and I said, oh my goodness, we are, and we missed you. And so I take full responsibility and I apologize. Luckily though, I think we're in the same agreement that the eminent domain part wasn't part of it.
No one says anything. There's one new councilman. There are 5 other city council people.
Yep.
You also look at the agenda. You have some idea what's going on.
And in fairness to them, we all had that conversation. They brought it to my attention. So it's totally on me. I take all of it. Literally as we were leaving in between the meetings. So we apologize. All I can do is apologize.
Information or nobody wanting to speak up. I don't know if the 5 other people are of the same partisan party. We have one new Democrat, I believe.
If I can focus you back to your last comment,
government
I apologize for the mistake. It certainly was my mistake. I take it wholeheartedly.
People would speak up and not be afraid of the mayor.
Yep.
When he misses.
I don't think that was what happened there, but I understand where you come from.
I do think so.
What else do you have to add to us?
I was just at the real estate committee meeting about a lot 3 on Southeast Bristol Business Park. I'm just to let you know, I'm against the sale of it, but I just learned about it yesterday, and I went online to the Bristol sites. Oh, how did I miss this? How did I miss this? I didn't get any information on this. I place in the search. There's ways of looking up when something is commented upon, and I looked up Lot 3 Southeast, placed in Southeast Bristol Business Park. What comes up? Did I miss a meeting along the way where it was initiated? And just tonight's meetings show up. Then I put the individual meetings in. I put the ECD, the Economic and Community Development Agency in there. Same thing. No response. Wetlands. I thinking. Did I miss it there on inland wetlands? I put that in there. Then I put down real estate. Real estate. It shows up. There's the computer services does not work correctly. If I put lot 3, Southeast Bristol Business Park in there, something should have come up about in the past, any kind of city meeting that it came up, and nothing. 2 years ago, I filed, it was through the Inland Wetlands Agency. I filed it's like a intervener's status letter. If primarily if anything about lot 3 comes up, and secondarily lot 8 and 9, I would like to be notified. I know I did that 2 years ago in writing. I submitted it into the inland wetlands. I assumed that that would take place for any meeting that takes place. Computer services should handle that. I was never informed, nothing. I didn't get any email. I didn't get a written letter. I'm interested. There's inland wetlands on that land, and I have a deep love of protecting that land there where the inland wetlands is. I won't go into that now. We had a public hearing on it. So that failed. I see the city, it fails on a citizen's part of informing them. Two cases.
Yeah, I think I can answer your question here, and it's a little bit unfortunate, but we moved to Civic Plus in the last year. And so all of the new meetings are on Civic Plus. If you did, I just did this. If you did that search on Civic Plus, former meetings don't come up. If you go to the main Bristol, Connecticut page, and I just typed in Southeast Business Park, and 356 things come up. So just search. I get it. You can also sign up for meeting information on any meeting and get it.
Is that an outside source? Civic Plus?
Civic Plus. It's an add-on to our webpage. So it gives us more complete information. So, all right, what else do you have for us, Michael? I don't mean to.
You told me that you did discuss it in the city council meeting on July. Lot 3 was discussed. I imagine if I put in city council and then lot 3, Southeast, it might have showed up. But my thinking is, most of the things happen on other committees at a lower level. Why would I jump to the city council?
Yeah.
That's usually the last thing. So
I'm gonna hone you back in to round up your points here. Sorry. What else you got for us? And I apologize. We are as open and transparent as we can be, and our new page is meant to do that.
I want to know about the next meeting about lot 3. We just had the public hearing with the real estate committee. I'm asking you, will it be coming up with the city council again for a vote in the future? It's not finalized yet, right?
I was not at that meeting, so Attorney Steig, can you give me when's the next meeting for that? What'd you guys do? Is it coming up tonight? Oh, yes, this is the one that was approved through the city council, yeah. At the July meeting. So.
That was the first and only meeting.
No, that came through ECD to then city council.
See, if I put in the ECD, it should have shown up through all those months.
Yeah, it does when you do our main page, but yeah, I apologize.
Failure of your computer information system for the citizen in this town. That was his main way of getting information about city meetings, and it doesn't work.
Duly noted.
Now you're telling we have to go to another new process, a new process. So I missed it. I can't do anything. What was the purpose of the public hearing then?
You attended the public hearing tonight, didn't you? I wasn't there.
Mayor, a couple things. This also went to Planning Commission under an 8-24 some months ago. And it's also been published in the newspapers, and Erica can confirm that.
Okay.
So,
okay.
There's a lot that goes on.
City web pages.
I apologize, but there's a lot going on. So, all right. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate your comments. We have Christy Talmadge. You're up next.
I cannot do anything else. It's done deal. It's a done deal.
Been approved.
And I don't even know who's buying the property. Can you tell me who's buying the property?
I don't have the name in front of me. Sorry. Which one?
At the real estate committee.
No, but it was at ECD. I'd have to go back and look. What? We can set up an appointment after. I certainly will sit down. You should come up and visit me in the office. Christy, you're up. Thank you. Sorry.
I'm very disappointed on how city operates.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Christy Talmadge. I'm a citizen journalist. I mostly cover politics and organized crime. No, I wasn't kidding. Like Gannon was my special project. So I have safety issues. I do have a First Amendment right to cover stuff, yada, yada, yada. But twice, and Cheryl knows because I told her the first time and I told her again, I've called the cops because I've been attacked. And twice, the cops didn't I realize I was the one who called and gave me a hard time. So I got beat up as sporties on last Saturday, and the admin of Bristol Talks was kind enough to let me post about it in there. But the cops did nothing about the person that attacked me, and I did put a picture up. So I want something done about it. There's taser fights in that bar, live taser fights. There's violence there all the time. Take care of your town. Take care of your business. I'm a taxpayer. I don't want to get hurt when I go outside. There's about 20 people in that thread on Bristol Talks that threatened to beat me up, that told people come out and when you see her, beat her up. Pay attention to your jobs. And I have PTSD. I don't want to be here. I'm going home. That's just what I came to say. And good night.
Thank you. All right, I don't have anybody else that signed up in council chambers. Anybody on Zoom wish to participate in public participation? Okay, seeing none, we will move on. You had more. I was very kind to you. I give you a lot more than 3 minutes.
I have to come on speaker.
If
These will be coming up on inland wetlands.
they will have to go through their site plan, inland wetlands project. It has not yet. They've been approved to buy the property. They now have to decide what they're gonna build and it will go through the land use committees.
Meeting,
I don't know which ones, because I don't know if they'll encroach on wetlands or not.
does anybody know anything?
It will come through the land use boards. Thank you very much, Michael. All right, we're gonna move on to our announcements.
About inland wetlands. Anybody know anything?
Ray? I just not off the top of my,
Officially?
right, we'd have to look at the map to see what they are.
Handles an inland wetland.
Correct. I don't know that there are inland wetlands on lot 3 that they will be. Well, then your answer is yes. Your answer is yes. Thank you. Yeah. We don't have a site plan yet. We don't know exactly what they're gonna build. We just agreed with the purchaser of the lot to go ahead and develop it.
But
thank you, Michael.
Somebody should know the process.
I just told you the process. It's coming to inland wetlands.
If they
Mr. Dutko, we do actually have a police officer in here. I don't want to have him escort you out. Thank you. And thank you. All righty. Announcements. We will start on my left this time. Councilman Rosengren, go ahead.
All right, we have hazardous waste collection coming up Saturday, November 23rd, from 9 to 1 at Public Works City Yard at 95 P. Kelly or Vincent P. Kelly Road. For more information, see the Public Works website. Let's see, we also have the Greater Bristol Burlington Health is going to host a first ever community health fair October 5th, 2024 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Rockwell Park Amphitheater. They're going to have vendors, community organizations, healthcare partners, district and non-district partners, nonprofit organizations, food truck, etc. They're going to have blood pressure checks, health screenings to be determined. And additionally, there'll be mental health resources, local resources, fun activities for the children and family, and raffles. Sebastian, I hope you don't mind. The Bristol Public Library is turning into autumn hours. So please check with the library website. It started September 7th, so just please check that out before you go to the library. Thank you.
Thanks. Councilwoman Tebow.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The Bristol Farmers Market is going to continue through November. We're having a great season. This is, again, the first year that this is operated under the nonprofit. And now we have a cooking demonstration coming to the Farmers Market on Saturday, the 21st at 11 a.m. to 12. We have Jessica Matterson, who's a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and diabetes educator from Wheeler Health. And she's going to prepare recipes with items that can be purchased from the market. So this is a grant-sponsored educational program through Main Street Foundation. So we're grateful for their assistance. And we hope a lot of people come out and actually take advantage of going home with the recipes and picking up some goods. Bristol Works Career Compass is coming up. This is definitely a program that you want to take advantage of. It's a 2-day workshop. Participants will gain insights and create a solid plan to kickstart their career journey. There's 2 groups. There's a youth group, so kids who are 14 to 17. They will have 2 sessions on the 28th and the 30th from 5 to 8 p.m. Adults will meet on November 4th and November 6th from 5 to 8. There'll be guest speakers, career assessments, and they will create their action plan. So to register, you go to bristolworkconnecticut.org/apply or call 860-634-5333. I put that up in case you can zoom in, maybe.
We probably could.
On September 20th, 2024, from 9 to 2 p.m., there's the Connecticut Veteran Affairs Stand Down 2024. This is a way for veterans or those currently serving to receive access to providers for medical, employment, financial, legal services. And so you need to bring your card, either your veteran card or your current service card, military service card. There are other locations available: Bridgeport, Danbury, Norwich, Rocky Hill, and Stamford, but right here at Bristol's St. Gregory CCD Center on Stafford Avenue. For more information, you can call Veterans Strong, and their number is 860-584-6258. And of course, you know, I have to talk about the things that are going on with the Arts and Culture Commission. Last Saturday, we had a fantastic concert. We had the Jimmy and the Parrots that did everything Jimmy Buffett. It was a fun time. Everybody was dancing. There was a conga line. People were just dancing in the aisles. The next event, we're going to go a little bit country western. So if this is your style of music, we have Pam Tillis coming on Saturday, October 29th. She is a renowned artist that was a 3-time CMA award winner, and she was the 1994 Female Vocalist of the Year. Tickets are on sale now, and they start at $42. Throwback movies are a thing, $5 per person. This Thursday is Raiders of the Lost Ark classic, one of my favorites. You can't go wrong with Harrison Ford. Just going to put that out there. 7 p.m. at Rockwell Theater. And then one of my other all-time favorites, I didn't pick these movies, but they must have known me. Jurassic Park is on Thursday, the 26th, again, 7 p.m. So bring your family down, $5 a person, see a great classic movie. And then, of course, it's all leads up to the Halloween Spooktacular. So this is an event that the City Arts and Culture has, you know, this will be our 2nd year putting this on, and it's going to be bigger than last year. We had thousands of people come through. You can come down for the Halloween event. We encourage costumes. There will be a lot of vendors there. There'll be a DJ dishing out some spooky music all afternoon. It's really going to start with a showing of Hocus Pocus, the first movie, at 2 p.m. Again, it's a $5 matinee per person. And then there'll be trick-or-treating on the field. The vendors include food trucks, hot cocoa, coffee, and other treats. And there'll be a lot of candy. Then at 5 p.m., we have a coffin race. So there's some criteria to build a coffin, which is available on either Downtown Live Facebook page, the Parks page. Many of us have shared it. But if you have a question on how to build a coffin, just ask me. Not that I've done that before, but you know, we won't talk about that. This will be a fun event, so you don't want to miss that. Keep that open. It's from 3 to 8 p.m. on Saturday, October 26th. Thank you.
Councilman Dickow.
This Sunday, there is a fundraiser for the Exchange Club for the Mum Festival. They have a bingo going on September 15th, Bristol Polish Club, 541 North Main Street. Doors open at 11 o'clock. Ticket sales are from 12:30 and the game starts at 2. It's $12 admission. There's special games for $1 each. There's going to be 2 winner take all, great raffles, 50-50 drawing, door prizes, And there's going to be food available for purchase. Any questions, you can contact Janet Mellon at janetmellon@gmail.com.
Thank you. Councilman Paniato.
The Friends of the Bristol Public Library is having a bag sale at the Friends Cafe located on the second floor of the main library. It is $5 for a bag on selected books. All books with a yellow sticker are included. That is September 13th, 1 to 4 p.m. and September 14th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And you can also visit the cafe whenever the library is open during their hours. There's books for everyone in there. Thank you.
Councilman Olson.
Thank you, Mayor.
Woman Olson.
The Fall Street milling and paving began yesterday, so if you want to know if your street is on the list, you can go to the Public Works website and search for Fall Paving 2024, or you can call your city council person. We'll be happy to look it up for you. Fall leaf bag collection begins Monday, October 7th until Friday, November 29th. And only leaves and brown recyclable paper leaf bags will be collected. And collection is not on a specific day, so just place them at curbside whenever they're full. I have an early announcement for an event sponsored by Parks and Rec. The 27th Annual Turkey Shoot Basketball Contest is scheduled for Saturday, November 23rd, 9:30 a.m. to noon. This contest is for ages 4 to 13 and will be at Chippens Hill Middle School Gymnasium. This is a competition to win a $25 gift certificate to purchase Thanksgiving turkey. And there's also other door prizes. I'll re-announce this event when we get closer to November 23rd. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Tyler.
Thank you, Mayor. As far as the senior center goes, as of today, we have 5,725 members. That number keeps growing. A few things going on at the senior center that we wanted to mention. On September 12th at 4:30 to 6 p.m. is their pasta dinner fundraiser. On September 26th from 9 a.m. to noon is their health and information fair. With over 40 vendors so far. For information on either one of those two, you can call the senior center. Cheryl, I didn't have a card that I could put up here, but that's 860-584-7895. Also, at the senior center, for everyone who enjoys tag sales, is the Advocates Tag Sale, which is being held on September 28th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., and that's in the gymnasium. As far as our police department goes, I think the one thing just worth kind of giving everybody a little heads up on is our Police Memorial Committee, which has been in, has been in place now for almost 2 years. We're kind of wrapping up. And one of the big things that we have done over the last 2 years is we worked really hard to take the 4 doors from the police car that was the memorial in front of the PD. And to take those doors, preserve them. And right now, those doors are over at Melnick's, getting stands made so that they can be displayed in the police department. And that's going to probably be unveiled. And, that's up to the police department, but that's going to be not too far down the road. So just want to give everybody a heads up. Chief Morello in the police department will share more information. But I think it was a very rewarding. Mayor, you're on that committee, Attorney Krowicki, and I think that was something that we all are very proud of that came out of that committee. Just 2 quick things as far as save the dates. October 27th is going to be the Mummathon. We were in a little bit of jeopardy that the Mummathon would not continue this year, and the Rotary Club stepped up and decided to work with Andrew Barton, who has been the main organizer for the last several years, and to keep this really great event going. So that's going to be October 27th. More information to follow. Also, November 21st is going to be the Hope for the Homeless 6 event. And that is a fundraiser for our homeless shelter. And again, more information to be followed. So just mark those 2 events on your calendar.
Great, thanks. I don't know if we missed any other, I wanted to add just to the Memorial Committee is one thing, and we did do a good job. I wanted people to know that the PBA kind of took over the actual police memorial. They are essentially fully funded, and they're really just waiting for a home for their memorial. I want to thank all of those fundraisers out there that donated money to that cause. It is sitting there, it's ready to go, and I just wanted to give that public announcement as well too. So they did a great job for that. I actually do have one kind of announcement, and it's really just an update maybe for the council because I had a couple things happen recently. Eversource came to visit me today. We've all been hearing about the Eversource bills and the issue with the escalating costs. Certainly, I think everybody understands what those issues are. The biggest part of this, I think that people are having a hard time with is a public benefit portion. And I wanted to let people know, I had some people on this council ask if we can do a resolution. We were kind of late to the game because of where our council meeting fell, and most of the towns have already done that. It's a little bit late now because we have worked directly with our state legislators, and Henry Martin in particular is asking for a special session to go ahead and use any ARPA funding left over to pay down some of that debt that's under the public benefits portion. And then today I was at the CCM meeting and I did put forward with many of the other city and town leaders a resolution to ask the state legislature to go in and have a special session and use those ARPA funds to pay mainly for the funding that is now in great excess because of the mandate to not charge people during the pandemic and well beyond the pandemic. So that was a bipartisan, multi-partisan, nonpartisan, I think is a better way to say it, motion that went forward for the entire Connecticut Conference of Municipalities. So I just wanted to give you all that update. Did we miss any other announcements or updates? Okay, we're going to move on to our consent agenda, which is number 5. I see items A through D. It's actually a little shorter this month. So I'm assuming that nobody wants to withdraw anything from the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Number 6 are reports and committee reports. We're going to start with 6A. And Sebastian, we'll turn it over to you for 2 ordinance committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I hereby move that section 2-97.5.1 line of duty determination of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Bristol, Connecticut, hereby amended to read as follows. I further move that the city clerk publish said amendments and additions to the Code of Ordinances and that they become effective upon the expiration of 14 days from the date of their publication in a newspaper of general circulation in the City of Bristol. Section 2-97.5.1 line of duty determination. 1. Pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes, Section 7-313E, the City of Bristol designates the Human Resources Director to determine whether a police officer or firefighter died in a line of duty as defined by General Statute 7-3.313E. 2. In accordance with General Statute, Section 7-313E, the line of duty determination shall not be used as evidence for workers' compensation claims.
Second.
Great. Any discussion on this? I know we already brought this through council. I thank Attorney Conlon, by the way, for kind of picking this one up. This was very short timing. The act goes into effect on October 1st, and luckily we have more than 14 days from today for that to be enacted. So I will call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Second one, Sebastian, go ahead.
I'll start with a motion to waive the reading here. In accordance with Section 41F of the Charter of the City of Bristol, I hereby move that the reading of the proposed amendments to the Code of Ordinances to be introduced this date pertaining to Section 5-19, Buildings and Building Regulations, Article 2, Permits and Permit Fees be waived.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Go ahead and give us the motion.
In accordance with Section 21F of the Charter of the City of Bristol, the following amendments to the Code of Ordinances are hereby introduced. I hereby move that the time and place of Tuesday, October 1st, 2024 at 4:45 p.m. at 111 North Main Street, City Hall, Room 1-1, Bristol, Connecticut, be set for the holding of a public hearing thereon by the Ordinance Committee, and that the city clerk publish notice of said public hearing and the proposed amendments to the Code of Ordinances as required by city charter.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Great. Any comments or questions on this one?
Yes, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Through the chair. I've been doing some research on this because I am part of the ordinance committee, and on the proposal to not require third-party review or special inspection on municipal projects, I'm concerned about this for a couple of reasons and want to talk about this tonight. First, I think it's wrong that the fire chief was looking to save money on Engine 3 cost. If more funds are needed to get this project done, then this committee, the ordinance committee and the fire board, should send a memo to the Board of Finance asking them to fund it at the right amount. Second, I think it sets a bad tone for developers. It seems to be bad practice to require the private sector to spend tens of thousands of dollars on review and special inspections if the city is not going to do the same and exempts itself. And more importantly, I want to know that quality assurance and reviews are being done for important city buildings like firehouses and the project like Northeast School. And my third point, which is probably the most important, is that it seems like these reviews may be required under the state building code. I did some research and found Chapter 17 special inspections and tests from the state building code. About this code, Chapter 17 provides a variety of procedures and criteria for testing materials and assemblies and labeling materials and assemblies. Its key purposes are to establish where additional inspections, observations, and testing must be provided, and the submittals and verifications that must be provided to the building official. This chapter expands on the inspection of Chapter 1 by requiring special inspection by a qualified individual where indicated, in some cases, structural observation by the registered design professional. Quality assurance measures that verify proper assembly of structure components and the suitability of the installed materials are intended to provide a building that, once constructed, complies with the minimum structural and fire-resistant code requirements as well as the approved design. To determine this compliance often requires frequent inspections and testing at specific stages of construction. Another term that is getting used is preemption. I am not a lawyer, so I am interested in hearing from our staff about these legal options and how they come into play, because the way I am reading them, the state has preempted authority over building and fire code. Legal opinions, I could be off base, but I think that we need some more information before acting on this. Also, Representative Mary Fortier reminded me that there have been discussions in the past about waiving building permit fees for municipal projects. That is something that I could get behind, since it is really just moving money from one pocket to another.
Little bit there to unpack. I will, again, I was not in the previous ordinance meeting, so I'm going to look to my ordinance colleagues as well as legal counsel if we need to address maybe some of those issues. Again, I just overall, I want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. I don't think anybody has said that we are going to waive inspections. So that was part of the last part that I was hearing, but
that was going to be the waive of third-party inspection.
Okay.
Well,
Roger.
I'm going to let Roger come up and then I'll add to it.
Hi, Roger Russo, purchasing agent. One thing I did want to call to your attention regarding the section in the statutes that relates to special inspections, that does occur on every project. That actually is a requirement that any building, regardless if it's a public or a private structure, there needs to be on file in the building department a statement of special inspections. And on that report, it does say who will be doing the testing for the concrete or for the rebar or whatever it is. It's actually a part of the file for when they pull a permit. And this change really just affects the cost associated with that permit. So the requirements for the permit don't change. So for the firehouse project, for the school projects, for all of these other projects, we do have budgeted regular inspection costs associated with that, for the testing of concrete or for rebar or for adhesives or for whatever is required for construction. I just wanted to make sure that we were clear on that.
Great. Cheryl, you want to?
Thank you. And if I recall from our discussions, the third-party review was put in place for Memorial Boulevard School specifically. Am I correct with that?
My recollection.
And that we've built other schools, West End School, Green Hills, that didn't have, this necessary requirement. This was hopefully to help reduce the amount of work that our building department maybe had to do in reviewing everything. And our discussions in the meeting, it did not. It really didn't reduce their workload. They still had to go out and do as much. And so it didn't, in their opinions, seem to, and I don't want to put words in their mouth, so I'm going to paraphrase it, add a lot of value to the process. So as Roger so said, the amount of testing will continue. The inspections will continue. It's basically a shell game. The city does, fund all these projects. The only problem is some of them are in capital expenditures, and maybe that cost is amortized over 20 years versus, and then you have a revenue that's received over here. So it's basically, you're paying the city the same money. It's just how it's recognized, the revenue recognition and the expense recognition. Still, at the end of the day, if it's amortized, you're paying debt service on that. It still comes out of the taxpayer's pocket. And so that's basically what we're saying is on city-owned property. And we were really, we focused in on that because when we talked about the water district, we didn't want the water district doing work for, a commercial enterprise and not getting a permit fee assessed. So it had to be on city-owned property. It's really just the removal of the fee from the actual cost of the upfront project.
The bonding of it as well, too, which is key. Sebastian?
To the chair, sure. There was strong vocal opposition from Rick Brown as far as a third-party review goes when we had this discussion, which was ample, and I know we had a few folks from staff there. It was something that we kept in mind as far as the larger projects that are happening around town. This firehouse, we've had school projects and current school projects happen. And as we mentioned, the Memorial Boulevard School. So the costs really have gone up in these times, and they're continuing to go up. We are looking to manage projects better as far as putting a better finished product out there that will be used for decades for the city, especially a firehouse that will serve Forestville and the surrounding community. So I think it's important that we get it right the first time when we do these larger projects that we've been coming into. This did pass ordinance unanimously a few days ago, so I'm a little bit confused as the opposition to the public hearing at this point. But I think overall it's a good idea and a good decision to move forward with it.
I do have one other comment because I heard something in there that triggered me when we talk about projects and putting money forth to do these projects. If I'm not mistaken, there were no less than 2 increases on the firehouse project as that started to now, and we know that cost escalation is happening there. We are continually escalating our costs. I see Board of Ed members in here as well too. When I first inherited the Northeast Middle School project, it was about $85 million. I think it's 106 plus at this point. So we do take that into consideration, and I don't think that is a direct cause of why this is being talked about. The greater impetus is that we're taking bonded money and we're paying the city to do inspection services or third parties to do other things. So we're looking to just make it a more streamlined process that makes financial sense for the city.
Through the chair, I would also note there was some examples brought forward of other towns who operate similarly of not having to pay building permit fees on their own property, Farmington, Simsbury, among others that were brought up. If there's a state statute in place, I would suggest the state go after them if they've had those in place for a while before they take a look at Bristol.
Great. Any other comments from others that weren't part of the ordinance committee, or did we miss anything? Hopefully you got your questions answered and okay.
To the chair.
Yes.
Just a small observation. I don't know if it's important or not important, but on the motion to introduce, it's noting the City Hall address as 11 North Main Street.
I did note 111.
You did say 111. I did hear that, but it's just showing on 11. I don't know if that's important.
Duly noted. Okay, other comments or questions? So we did have the motion in the second. Without hearing any other comments, we'll call this vote. This is a regular vote, right? Yeah. Not a a resolution. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed? Hearing none, passes unanimously. Thanks. Sebastian, I know you have another new item to bring up, ordinance, but we're gonna do the two new business items, on themselves. Do you have any other committee reports?
No other reports. Thank you.
All right, I will start with Tyler on my right for other committee reports.
Caggiano, I have no
Sorry.
reports tonight.
Sorry, I'm just, I will tell you the reason why I'm doing this, because this is different for me, is Paul Dickow is sitting to my left, and I promised that I would never call him Paul. No, I'm joking about that because I went to school with his brother, so I keep writing all your last names down. So I'm trying to be consistent with everybody, so sorry. Councilwoman Olson, do you have any committee
I
reports?
do not have any reports.
And Councilman Dickow, do you have any?
I do not have anything.
Councilman Tebow?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. At the August 22nd meeting of the Bristol Fire Commission, we welcomed and pinned probationary firefighter James Pavlicek. If I'm saying that correctly.
Yep, you are.
Thank you. I have an update from we did already vote on two wonderful resolutions for animal control facility, but I do want to share that we're still selling T-shirts. We got another group in for $20 each that the proceeds benefit the animal control facility. They are available here in the Public Works Department office here at 111 North Main Street, City Hall. We continue to evaluate the building on Cross Street as our future home for the facility and work out with our architect, and we plan to have a firm decision soon. I just want to stop for a minute, and I want to give thanks to a warrior and champion of animals, and that's Trish Hewlin. Trish started and ran the Friends of the Bristol, Connecticut Animal Shelter for over 10 years. Her dedication and selflessness has had an impact on the lives of so many adopted animals. And she recently shared for health reasons that she needs to step down. I know I'm better by knowing Trish, and so I just want to thank her publicly. So thank you, Trish.
Thank you.
Arts and culture, I already updated a lot of things. We continue to actively support the theater, and committee members have personally dedicated many hours at the events over the past year. We actually hit a year with our show this past weekend. There's room for more volunteers because we're going to have more events. So if anybody is interested in volunteering, it's a fun time to volunteer. Just let me know or let Ariana Terrio know at she can be found on the city staff directory. And concessions, looks like they're finally coming. We're making headway on the contract with the new vendor and plan to have them in place for the October show. We're working on several other projects which will soon be revealed, but we do want to hear from the community on cultures and art forms that they'd like to see better represented. So we may have a shoestring budget, but we make up for it with energy and creativity. But if anybody has an area they'd like us to explore or has an idea, we also do have a grant program to help fund certain projects. Please reach out to me because we are such a diverse community. We want to make sure everybody is represented. So thank you.
Great. Councilman Rosengren.
I just have one. School Readiness Council. If parents are looking for a high-quality preschool experience for their child, please reach out to our school readiness funded site. Right now, there's full days available at Bristol Child Development Center and half day at Edgewood Pre-Kindergarten Academy. The CT Office of Early Childhood is holding listening sessions to hear from parents and providers related to early start CT. Their new state-funded childcare system will be rolled out over the next several years. You'll find more information about Early Start CT and opportunities for feedback at ctoct.org/early-start-CT. That's it.
Right. Thank you. Did we
I
miss
made
it?
a little fancy one too, but it wasn't as pretty, so.
I don't know if people can read that. Roger, I just noticed that Adam is on. Has he been on the whole time? So I'm going to entertain a motion to move up 11, and we'll go back to the old business, new business, and other things, so that we can get Adam Teff to give us a quick presentation on the NRES letters of intent. So can I have a motion to move 11 up?
So move.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Adam, I think I promised you an earlier time than this. I apologize, but if you can give us a little 5-minute overview over NRES and how that's changed and what you've done for us, that'd be great. And then Roger, we'll have you come up and talk about the two letters of intent that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm at home at the moment, just so you know, I'm not physically there. If you can see me and hear me.
Yep, we can see you. Did you want to
Okay.
share something or no?
Yeah, so I can share screen. Well, it says disabled. So
Can you make him a co-host for a moment? If you click on right by his the right side of his head, right over there, and then you can make him a co-host, and he could share, I believe. Or do we have that available? Yeah. Hit yes. There you go, Adam. You should be able to share your screen now.
all right, great. Let me cue this up. Okay. All right, so I'm going to try to keep this very, very short and sweet. I appreciate everybody's time here tonight. So just for a quick backstory, the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities has a renewable energy program in addition to their traditional energy program, which the city has used for a number of years. So recently we were brought in on the renewable side, the CCM program, to help the city take advantage of the non-residential renewable energy solutions program, which is really kind of a capstone in a lot of ways for the city because you've been so proactive in terms of utilizing the programs that have come previously. You know, they've helped incentivize some of the on-site rooftop projects that you've done, some other projects done off-site called virtual net metering, if that rings a bell for anybody. You know, those were iterations of the programs in the past. And like I said, this was, you know, this new edition of the NRES program has some features in it that help complement the work that the city's done already to embrace renewable energy. Long and short of it is that one of the carve outs under this, the NRES program allows solar companies to build large scale solar farms and sell power directly to the utility for a period of 20 years. Their ticket to entry into being able to do that, however, is to have a municipal co-sponsor. The municipal co-sponsor is simply entitled to share the revenue from the project. So there's nothing to build on city property. There's nothing, you know, to maintain. There's nothing to purchase. It's really just, as you know, the name suggests, a revenue share where the city would get some of the top line revenue from the project. And that's, you know, what every solar developer needs in order to qualify to then bid into the NRES program and hope to be selected. So the purpose of our work was to put out an RFP to try to select vendors that had projects that would be a good fit for the city, to try to maximize two things: the financial value for the city, so overall, you know, the outcome would be from the process, and two, to try to find projects that had a high likelihood of success of being selected for entry into the NRES program, because every solar developer that wants to get into the program has to then bid into it themselves. So not only did the city hire us through CCM to run a bid to select a project, but then, you know, we had to evaluate those projects and make suggestions, and then those projects will ultimately bid into the NRES program. The deadline for which is right around the corner. So the request tonight is for the city to be able to engage on a non-binding basis, an LOI basis, with the two chosen solar companies that resulted from the process. The net effect for the city, if all of the projects that we submit get selected, would be about $66,000 per year. And that's over a 20-year period. So over the life of those projects, about 1.3 million back to the city simply for participating with the projects on a revenue share basis. And one other note too, so based on the way the program rules work and the strategy for how we would go to market this time and use Bristol's ability to participate, this is actually one of two procurements that we'll ultimately do under this program. So this is kind of a phase one, and then we'll replicate this again in a few months, phase two, just again, based on the way the program timing is split up and how many projects are allowed in at any given time. You know, we felt this was the most advantageous strategy for the city. So Again, really good complementary approach to the work that you guys have already done. Kind of live in a time of rising costs here and there, seemingly everywhere, especially on the Eversource side. I'm sure folks are really dialed into the increase that's come about on everybody's Eversource bill over the last 2 months. The combined public benefits charge, things having to do with Millstone and things like that. So again, I mean, the program's here to make sure that the city can capitalize on these programs as they come about. Just want to make sure that it gets done to the best of everyone's ability. And I think that's basically about it. I mean, we could go into some of the specifics of the sites, but I know we want to try to keep this to, high level, what the financial outcome is for the city, what the request is at this time. And I'm happy to take any questions if folks have any.
I'll hold you just for a few minutes for questions in case there is, but maybe I'll have Roger just talk about the two projects quickly that we have in front of us. And we'll open it up to questions at that point.
Yeah. So, sure. So from the process, we had 2 vendors that were ultimately selected. One vendor has 1 site, and then the other vendor, Green Skies, has 3 sites. So we're going to put all of these into the program. We evaluated these on a basis of, overall feasibility, financial outcome for the city. There's a lot of things that, we like to try to pay attention to make sure that, we're making good recommendations. It is a fairly competitive program. So there are lots of other towns, in the state that are partnered with solar vendors that are all trying to do the same thing. There's not an unlimited pool of funding, unfortunately, but I think we picked projects that have very high likelihood of success, not just on an NRES selection basis, but on a permitting basis as well. Those projects are located in Hebron, Haddam, Ellington, and Gaylordsville, which is actually in New Milford, I believe. Wallingford. Okay. I had to look it up. I've been all around the state, but I'd never been there before. So, these are the 4 projects that have gone in. We've tried to qualify them based on all the criteria that we would normally look at to gauge feasibility. We did include in the handouts here photographs and outlines, just so folks can put a picture some of what we're talking about here. So that's all. Yeah.
Maybe we can hold off if they do want to drill into the actual specific sites. I'm just thinking to keep things moving. I want to tie a nice bow on top of this.
Sure.
Is that Adam has done a fantastic job of packaging this up for us. He's actually gone so far as to help me craft the letters of intent and the subsequent contracts that would be needed to be signed by the mayor. And we've got them reviewed by Corporation Council. So if you approve this tonight, the mayor would then be able to sign the letters of intent. Tomorrow morning, we'll get them executed, and then we'll get the applications directly back to the developers, and their deadline is September 17th. So I think we're on that right schedule to pull things together.
Yep, pulled it together here. Good timing. So hopefully it'll be some of the first in there, but it's a competitive program, as he said. What questions do anybody have?
All right,
Cheryl.
this might sound dumb, and I apologize I didn't ask this ahead of time, but how do we share in revenue in places that aren't even in our border? I mean,
Isn't that fascinating?
yeah.
Well, it's actually an extension of what had been happening previously, where municipalities would sponsor electricity and we would be running the program. It basically would be our site as in the eyes of Eversource, and we would get credits back. This is actually a direct revenue process. Adam, you're probably going to do a better job of explaining this than me.
Yeah, so the answer is pretty straightforward. So the benefit that the solar developers get in being able to participate here is that on the other end of it, on the other end of the transaction for them, when they bid into the program, if they are selected, they get to sell power to Eversource on a one-to-one basis directly for 20 years. So that's a locked-in revenue stream for them. So it's a structure that I think appeals to solar finance folks, where they want to be able to build, own, and operate these assets for their useful life, which is about 20 years. And the way that the program, just generally, this is interesting for folks, is that there's a limited pool of funding available every year. And Eversource, basically, when they get all those applications, they pick the lowest bidders first. So it's a way that the program sort of helps contain costs and ensures that the cost per kilowatt hour that they're buying is as cheap as possible. But it's really just top line off, for every kilowatt hour that gets created by the array. It's calculated in that way for Green Skies, and then Davis Hill is just a flat payment on a 20-year basis. So that's where they're earning their revenue. Hence, that's where the city's revenue comes from.
In essence, this program is incentivized by Eversource to encourage solar.
So they can only do this through municipalities to get like this tariff rate?
Correct.
Okay, and so there's no financial risk to us, no capital cost, no nothing. And what other communities are we partnering with in this?
This is directly Bristol.
Just Bristol?
Yes, these programs require a site to establish a single sponsor relationship, and Bristol is the sponsor for these 4 sites.
Just using our name and our opportunity, basically.
Correct.
Okay.
And this is a relatively new program, which is why we had Adam do this. Virtual net metering was the way the state was doing this before. This seems to be more straightforward. I never really got virtual net metering, but I am appreciative of the extra time we took, and I just wanted to be clear about that too, to make sure that we're doing this right the first time. So.
Yeah, and Mayor, just to your point, that was sort of one of the main goals of switching from the old program to the new, was to help clarify some of this. And I think the virtual net metering, for all its benefits, was created some bookkeeping issues that were difficult, and the fluctuating values of credits and things like that, which NRES really sought to remedy.
Councilwoman Tyler, go ahead.
Thank you,
I got
Mayor
the councilwoman
Caggiano.
this time.
This is maybe a dumb question, but are we adding any new solar, or are these the solar sites that we already have in Bristol?
So
it
is being added to the overall grid, just not in Bristol.
At these locations.
Okay.
Yeah, and these projects would not be able to participate in the program and therefore not get built without that municipal co-sponsor. So this program is meant to encourage more renewable energy assets in the power mix here in the state.
One thing, Adam, correct me if I'm wrong. I think one of the questions that you may be asking is, why isn't Haddam or Hebron taking these on? And it really comes down to the capacity for the electricity that they consume. So Bristol is a large enough municipality. So in theory, it shows that Bristol is creating solar to use to offset what Bristol is consuming.
Yeah, over the next 20 years.
Exactly.
Chair,
Yep.
if I can just ask, I know that the library participates in a solar program.
They do.
Would they tie into this, or is that separate? Would that remain separate?
So the program that the library ties into is the one that Adam had talked about previously, the virtual net metering program. And in essence, for every amount of solar energy that gets sent back to the grid, there's a credit that's generated back to the developer. They're basically selling that credit to us. So we then would get a reduction on our electricity bill. What happens is we go through this exercise every month of how many credits were generated and are they reflected on our bill. So we gain benefit to reduce the library's bill, but it's just an accounting process. This is simply straight revenue. There is no reconciliation.
And they will both work concurrently.
Exactly.
They'll
Yep.
continue.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, this is really like additive to what the city's done already in that sense.
Any other questions from the council? We still have a quorum here, but I will keep moving this meeting along because some of us may have to go anywhere. So with no more questions, I will entertain a motion to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute a letter of intent with Green Skies Clean Energy LLC as a solar development partner to enter into a non-residential renewable energy solutions revenue sharing agreement with the city of Bristol.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. We may want to note, unfortunately, Councilwoman Tebow wasn't here for the vote, but we still have a majority. B is to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute a letter of intent with First Light Power Services LLC as a solar development partner to enter into a non-residential renewable energy solutions revenue sharing agreement with the city of Bristol, subject to review by Corporation Council.
Second.
Right, Cheryl's back for this one. Sorry, Cheryl, we kept moving because it's been a long meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That motion passes unanimously as well. Thank you, Roger. Appreciate Roger and Adam. You guys worked together, and I know this for a little while, so we're getting in a little bit under the wire, it looks like, but we're getting in, so that's great. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you, Roger.
Okay, we go back to our regularly scheduled program. Number 7 is old business. I'm not aware of any old business. Any from Corp Council or Council? Nope. All right, new business. We have 2 items. Cheryl, I'm going to ask you to do the one from the joint board, just so that we can approve it again.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept a grant in the amount of $16,493.91 to compensate or assist the city of Bristol with early voting in the upcoming November election.
Yep, for those program supplies. Great. Can I have a
Through
second?
the Office of the Secretary of State.
Second.
Right? We discussed this, I think, broadly. Very good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That motion carries. I'll have to go to the Board of Finance now, and we'll take care of their end. Sebastian, I think you had another new
You have a
business item.
proposal for a public hearing through ordinance. I'll begin with a motion to waive the reading in accordance with section 41F of the Charter of the City of Bristol. I hereby move that the reading of the proposed amendments to the Code of Ordinances to be introduced this date pertaining to section 18-170 Bristol Transportation Commission be waived.
Second.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Go ahead,
In
Sebastian.
accordance with section 21F of the Charter of the City of Bristol, the following amendments to the Code of Ordinances are hereby introduced. I hereby move that the time and place of Tuesday, October 1st, 2024 at 4:45 PM at 111 North Main Street, City Hall, Room 1-1, Bristol, Connecticut, be set for the holding of a public hearing thereon by the Ordinance Committee, and that the city clerk publish notice of said public hearing and the proposed amendments to the Code of Ordinances as required by city charter.
Second.
Great. Comments or questions on this? Anything you want to add, Sebastian, before we vote? Hannah just came through.
No, this is in regards to, I believe, Cheryl, if you want to expand on this.
Yes, our Transportation Commission, according to the ordinance, requires the city planner to be a voting member. After much discussion, the city planner agreed to come to meetings or have their designee as a support, similar to like when we have some attorneys from Corporation Council help, but that they not be required to be a voting member, and that this be turned over to be a member from the public. So we'll still have the same number on the commission, and they will be a resource. It just was an odd thing that was set up years ago.
Okay.
We found no state statute that prohibited us from doing this. We did that research, and so it's basically they'll still support us, or we'll have the public works director often comes. We have a member of the police often come in those advisory roles.
Yep.
We feel that's a better fit.
Yep. Might even be ECD, by the way, we're working with the Connecticut DOT
Exactly.
and those types of things. Good. Makes sense to me. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, that motion carries. Any other new business? Erica, I think we have one resignation.
Yes, April Dews resigned from the City Arts and Culture Commission.
Great.
Through the chair, through the mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we accept April's resignation and send her a letter of thanks for her service.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, good news is on appointments tonight, it's not a very big list because we were very long last time. So we're going to start with arts and culture. Since April has stepped down and it's official, the resignation, we've been having somebody that's been waiting in the wings. So I will entertain a motion to appoint E. Brad Yancey to fill out April's term, which ends on 4/9/2027.
Move approval, or second.
No, move.
Move.
Move it. Yeah, that'd be great.
I'll second it.
Right, Eric got the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. On the animal control facility, which is kind of a sub-building committee, it's a new ad hoc committee. I'd like to appoint Deputy Chief Moskowitz to that committee. There's no real term to this, but he actually is coordinating with other towns like Plymouth, which we already have an agreement with, and maybe some other towns that are interested in getting involved in our new animal control facility and maybe regionalizing services. So I'd like to add him to the building committee. So
Move approval.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? And then, motion carries, sorry. On Planning Commission, I'd like to make a motion to replace Tony Lorenzetti, who is actually now a city employee, with Kiana Marie Small. And that term will expire on 7/25.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. We're all done. No, I'm only kidding. We have one more on here for Corporation Counsel. I'd like to entertain a motion to reappoint Attorney Stieg to Corporation Counsel that expires on 9/29.
So moved.
Second.
And may I?
We can have comments on this one.
Okay, thank you. Just a couple of.
He's
quick things.
blushing. Look at him.
So I have the honor and the pleasure of serving on code enforcement and on real estate committee with Attorney Stieg. He's stuck with me. He has to spend a lot of time with me. In addition to meetings and agendas, and stuff like that, we have spent several Saturday mornings at 7 o'clock on clean and leans. We have done many site visits to the different real estate and code enforcement locations that we are working on. And, he even takes me along to probate court with him. I just want to say that I really, really appreciate his partnership, and we are able to achieve much because of him. And I think Bristol is very fortunate.
I think that was said very well. I don't know that
Ditto.
I can add anything. We'll all
We
add
go
our
ditto.
dittos. We get to vote on it too, so I will call the vote then. All those in favor?
Aye.
I assume nobody is opposed. Excellent. Congratulations, Attorney Steve. You're doing a great job. We appreciate it. All right, I didn't miss any, did I, Erica, or anybody? Good. I had to play that with Attorney Steve. Might have been sweating a little bit. Anyway, number 12, Department of Public Works. So Ray is hanging in there, which is very good. But first one, I don't think we'll need him for, but it's a motion to authorize the mayor to execute contract amendments number 2 and number 3 in the amounts of $31,218 and $48,495 respectively to contracts 2C23025 Meadow Street, Kelly Street Parking Garage with D'Amato Construction totaling $79,713.
So moved.
Second, this is all in relation to the finalizing that project, which is great. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That motion carries. B is to approve a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the State of Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection for a grant from Deep Climate Resilience Fund in the amount of $250,000. So
Second.
Second, that'll be great. This is a resolution, so we'll have to do a roll call vote. I think we're all familiar with what's going on here. Does anybody have any questions first? No questions? Okay, go ahead, Erica.
Councilmember Dicko,
Yay.
Councilmember Olson,
Aye.
Councilmember Paniotto,
Aye.
Councilmember Rosengren,
Aye.
Councilmember Tebow,
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, motion passes. All right, C, this is one we're probably going to need Ray. We are going to need Ray. So I'll ask you to come up, Ray, to authorize the mayor to execute an amendment to contract 2C24061 with PJF Construction Corporation in the amount of, and we're going to get that number in a second. It's not quite 268, but it is a number close, which is the cost to remove bridge pile obstruction. So first of all, Ray, what's the actual number that you were talking about?
It's 242. So we have been able
$242,000.
to negotiate it from 268 to 242.
Okay, great. Tell us a little bit about this. This is a high-level project. There's been lots of discussion about this, and I just want to make sure the whole council is aware of what's going on here.
So this is a Jerome Avenue Bridge that they just up from, Star Bridge. It's unfortunate that we hit a unknown obstruction. The bridge is ultimately supported by 14 3-foot diameter piles. The contractor drills those down. They have to get down to 60 feet until bedrock. And then even once they hit bedrock, the equipment is capable of drilling into the rock. They seed it into the rock approximately 5 feet, and then they put big concrete reinforcements down and pour it. And that's what the bridge supports itself on. One of the piles, they hit an obstruction 14 feet down. Unfortunately, it was too big to move around because we could have moved, the piles, slightly. And it was too small in the sense that when they were drilling it, it kept on, moving, so it wasn't stable. So they had to get down to 60 feet. The contractor tried several methods under the guidance of our consultant, including taking it. They tried drilling with smaller diameter drills, bores. They couldn't get through it. Then they tried driving it, breaking it up with a H pile. I think I attached a picture, the end of it, bent. Ultimately, they had to install a cofferdam, which is sheet piling around and dig down 40 feet and physically remove it. I would say there's a typo in my memo. The cofferdam was 20 by 16, not 20 by 60. So, tonight we're asking for a amendment to the contract. I would say that it is, the bridge is being constructed in accordance with state local bridge programs, so there is a 50% reimbursement. We did have funds within the project. We already did go for the Board of Finance. There was a supplement for that for a $25,000 from a bridge contingency fund that pays for it. The concern now is that we are pushing the contractor. We were very confident that we could have had the road open by the end of this year. We're less confident now, but we are pushing the contractor to do so.
Is there enough contingency money to do the extra work? It sounds like extra manpower to get that done if we do push for the December. We did have a question on that.
There's enough to push them to have extended hours. So they're going to have extended hours, work 6 days, 10 hours. When they pour in concrete, they can't work the rest of the day. So there are times, like that. The only thing is we're currently evaluating. There's also going to be cost potentially next spring, because if they can get the road open this year, they still have to complete work next year. Work that at contract time they were planning on doing when the road was closed. So there may be extra costs, at that point. So at this point, we have authorized them to expedite work, but we are evaluating it based on what the cost would be next spring.
Okay.
So potentially we would weigh that off and honestly, come to the conclusion that some of the work does have to, the road couldn't be open and we would have to defer it until next spring, but we're still working with them and evaluating that.
Yeah, my only comment would be, as tough as it is to have this road closed, and some of us in the local neighborhood feel it, and we get lots of complaints about it. We should do it appropriately, number one, and number two, in a somewhat cost-effective measure at this point too. So if it had to be open a little bit longer, I think that might be the right thing to do. But you're going to weigh those costs based on what we have allocated to the project.
Yeah. And we did look at methods other than even installing the piles, but unfortunately we couldn't in effect certify the bridge to DOT standards, which is really a condition of the grant.
Oh.
And I would say as of today, they have completed the drilling of at least the sub-material above rock.
Okay, so they have gotten down to 60 feet. Okay. Comments or questions from this group? I know there were some questions, so I think I pre-asked some of those. Any others? Cheryl?
No, I was just noticing the deck membrane and the temperatures above 32. So I was looking at AccuWeather just to see what November and December look like.
Yeah, let's hope it's another mild
Looks
spring.
like it's okay.
Or winter, so we save some money on plowing and other things as well. All right. I don't recall if we did the motion. No, we didn't actually. So the motion will be amended when you read it, if you would. So have somebody read it to 242,000. So let me have somebody read the motion so we're clear.
Make a motion to authorize the mayor to execute an amendment to contract 2C24-061 with PJF Construction Corp. In the amount of $242,000, cost to remove bridge pile obstruction increasing the contract amount. Oh, gosh, now I have to
We won't be
add.
able to do the math. Let's just leave it at
Okay.
242,000 and we'll do the math.
Increasing the contract.
There we go.
Second.
All right. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Ray. Appreciate your work on that. That's not a fun one. Ray's been dealing with that one for more than a couple of weeks now, too. All right, we move on to, we got a couple more items here. I lost track of the number, sorry. It is 13A to award contract 2C25001 Page Park Improvements to Dayton Construction Company Incorporated in the amount of $4,994,500 and to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute any and all documents necessary to effect said contract.
Move approval?
Second. Great. By the way, this is a large unanticipated reduction in the amount that they thought they would need for this phase of the project. So that's kind of good news. We have $10 million allocated at this point, so that's about half of it. So kind of good news on that one. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. And B is to amend contract 2P22010 renovations and improvements at Page Park with Weston and Sampson Engineers Incorporated in the amount of $318,450 for a revised contract total in the amount of $1,353,450 and to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute any and all documents necessary to effect said contract amendment.
So moved.
Second.
Comments or questions on this one? They're the ones doing the project. We've been working with them for a while. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, Board of Education contract change orders. I know Roger's still here. He's hanging in there. We might have one on this one. The first one I think will be straightforward. To approve change orders for Banton Construction Company for contract 2C24090 fire alarm panel replacement at Bristol Central High School in the amount of $148,033 and to authorize the mayor and acting mayor to execute any documents necessary to amend the contract. And I was wrong on that one, by the way. I thought Bristol Eastern was going to be first. We have two for Bristol Central. So, Roger, do you want to just come explain that to us quickly? We could have probably taken these together, but there's two, and you're going to tell us the reason why.
Yeah, really, it's just that as these projects have gone forward, the Board of Education has their version of ARPA funds, it's ESSER funds, and they had a very tight deadline to get all of this work done by September 30th. So Bristol Central, the contractor that we had on site, went through, determined that the plans that we had originally had were missing a lot of devices that they hadn't identified in the field. There were sensors that were supposed to be in the grid. They missed them. So they found half of them. There's the first set of change orders. And then they recognized that there was another set of them that came out. This should be the last of them for Bristol Central, and that's why you'll see two different sets. Bristol Eastern is on a little slower time frame. The contractor is not moving as quickly as Bristol Central. We actually had them go out into the field and do specific diagnosis to determine, to make sure that they had all of the missing devices. That's why you only see the single change order for the one school.
Excellent. All right, so I'll entertain the motion that I read on A.
Move approval.
Second.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. So B is to approve a change order for the same construction company for contract 2C24090 fire alarm panel replacement at Bristol Central High School in the amount of $52,798 and to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute any documents necessary to amend the contract.
So moved.
Second.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. And C is the Eastern one that Roger already talked about, to approve change orders for L. Holzner Electric Company for contract 2C24092 fire alarm panel replacement at Bristol Eastern High School in the amount of $143,710.06 and to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute any documents necessary to amend the contract.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, we're finally at executive session. And did our person that we're going to bring in just hit the restroom? Probably no.
No.
Or
Just our office.
so it's just going to be Corp Council and the entire city council. So I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. We'll go into executive session. So
Mayor,
Yes.
a woman who.
All right, as you're all coming back in, I'll remind everybody that in executive session, no votes were taken. I will entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That motion carries. Councilwoman Tyler.
Thank you, Mayor Caggiano. I hereby move that the city of Bristol enter into a full and final settlement in the matter of Todd LaValle versus City of Bristol for any and all workers' compensation claims filed by Todd LaValle for the total amount of $135,000. The City of Bristol to pay $65,000 with the excess insurance carrier to pay $70,000 of this final settlement. The dates of these claims are listed below, but are not limited to the following: September 13th, 2003, July 22nd, 2005, January 13th, 2006, April 12th, 2006, October 26th, 2006, April 20th, 2020, May 19th, 2011, March 28th, 2019, May 22nd, 2020, January 27th, 2022, August 23rd, 2023, and June 27th, 2024. This full and final settlement is contingent on the claimant filing his retirement papers, which is anticipated to be filed upon approval of this motion. I further move that the mayor, acting mayor, corporation counsel, or assistant corporation counsel be authorized to execute the full and final settlement.
Need it? I got a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That motion carries. Nothing to come before us. I'll enter.
To adjourn.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.